It's the first podcast of 2018. And you're in the film world. Welcome, everybody. We're going in the film world today with the Houston-based actor Ray Laredo. Both him and I have something in common, as we both attended Sam Houston State. Go Bearcats! All I got to say about that. Eat 'em up. Some of his work you can find Ray in is back in 2015 in True Crime with Aphrodite Jones. I'll put up the link to his IMDb page along with his highlight reel. Connect with Ray on Twitter at Ray_Laredo. Now let's go. In the film world, please welcome Ray Laredo. Hello, welcome. I'm here with Ray Laredo, back in the film world. Thank you for joining me, all you listeners, in this new 2018 year. Hello, Ray. How are you doing today?
Hey man, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm super excited to get the ball rolling and super excited to have invited you on to talk with me today.
For sure, I'm happy to share.
And I want to start getting to know you a little bit. Let's just dive right in. What are you most excited about in your life right now?
Well, I'm excited to be on this podcast for one. Also, just having the chance and the freedom to do what I love to do, and that's act. This year I'm trying to do as much as I can, whether it be any student films, short films, theater. Trying to get myself into theater again, so I'm just trying to look around the community, seeing what's out there, and just be creative and tell stories. Having my family by my side and just having their support from my friends and family really means a lot to me. So I'm very excited about that.
Awesome. That's glad to hear. Things are happening for you, it sounds like, or just beginning. And what are you
Yeah,
most grateful for right now?
I'm grateful for my family again and being able to have a home. I was affected by Hurricane Harvey, so that really did put me in a tough spot. But I overcame it, and we're still pushing through and looking forward. So that's all that matters.
So, were you how badly were you affected, and what part of you said you're from the Houston area? So,
Yes.
what part of the area and how badly were you affected?
I was off of Barker Cypress and South Park View, so it's kind of going towards Katy. And that area completely flooded. There's four apartment complexes around the area, and all the first floor was just torn out. All of our clothes, the furniture, the dining room table, the TV, everything was just moldy. Stuff was just nasty with just water and mold, and it was crazy, and all of that was just everything that we had. So when we moved into our new place, we literally just had a little bit of miscellaneous things that we can take from the old apartment, but we had to get our whole furniture again, clothes on our backs, shoes. But the community helped out a lot, so I'm extremely grateful for that.
Yeah, it sucks, man. A lot of people gone through even worse in some parts closer to the water.
Yeah, I know a lot of people did lose their homes, and people are still to this day rebuilding and just trying to push through and look forward. So
So this happened back in September, late August,
yeah,
September. What's the recovery efforts been like?
oh, it's been crazy. I mean, there's a lot of recovery that's been going on. Houston, the community of Houston, the city of Houston pushed strong, and everybody came together as one and helped each other out. The videos, there's some videos on YouTube that people posted, and people just coming out on their boats, helping people out from left to right. And to this day now, that so there's a neighborhood by close to where I live right now, and there's still some scraps around the neighborhood, and you can see people just outside of their homes, just building stuff or taking stuff out, moving out, and it's crazy, but Houston's strong, so.
Yeah, exactly. Being from Houston most of my life, I'm sports fan. Astros, Rockets. You into any of those, or all of those?
I used to be into baseball. Of course, like growing up, I always wanted to be in a baseball team. Never actually had the chance to, but I do watch a little bit of baseball. And Astros, man, let me tell you, once they hit that World Series, this city went crazy. I didn't get to go to the parade
Yeah,
though, which I lucked out on, but it was an amazing experience. So,
million people downtown. That was just crazy right there. I mean,
oh yeah,
people are talking about, oh, good luck with all the bandwagon fans, right? But hey, I'm glad to have them. I was gonna be sad when they go.
right,
I'm glad to have the bandwagon fans.
right.
But we do have one other thing besides being Houston natives. You've been in Houston most of your life, right?
Yep, born and raised.
Besides that, we do have another thing in common. I saw you went to Sam Houston State, huh?
And yes, Bearcats all the way. Yeah, I actually graduated there 2 years ago, 2016.
Eat
I
'em
got my
up.
degree. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I got my degree in PR and advertising. That campus is it's cool. I mean, it's out in Huntsville. Huntsville is it's gloomy and everything, but the campus, everybody there, it was a good experience for me because I came from Lone Star out here in Houston, and that was my first choice to go to. And I don't regret it. Everybody helped out, and it was an amazing experience there.
So PR advertising. So you spent some time in the Dan Rather building.
Oh yeah, oh
It
yeah.
was
Full
my
time
home
college
too.
student all the time. Yep.
I was a graduate of 2010, by the way.
Okay, okay. Not too big of a difference, but still the same.
I was just visiting up there recently on January 18th, but they actually had to postpone classes again because the latest winter weather. They postponed,
Yeah.
and when I went up, I wasn't planning on this, but it was actually the first day of classes and visiting,
Mm.
and I wasn't able to do much. But it's good to go back and visit.
Yeah, for sure. I need to go back and visit. I haven't been actually since I graduated, but I should definitely plan a day to go up there and visit.
All right, now we got to I got to know you a little bit and dive into specific questions I have for
Hmm.
how did you know you wanted to pursue acting? How or when or how?
So, it's funny. I'm a dancer. I've been dancing for quite some time now, about 10 years or so, maybe a little bit more than that. And I was shy growing up and everything, and I barely even moved until I took a chance to audition for a dance team. I made the dance team. I loved it. I enjoyed it, and I grew as a dancer. And to this day, I'm still dancing. And when I joined that dance team, there was actually a theater show that they put on. It was called Mis Quinces, about a quinceañera girl, um, and just a lot of drama that was in there. Of course, I was scared at that time. Still, I was still shy, and I wanted to read for this role. The role I can still remember it was Julio. I read the lines and everything, but I didn't audition. I just didn't do it because I was too shy. And years went on until I got to college. When I got to college, I took an acting class. I said, you know what? Let me just try it out. Why not? I didn't get the chance to do it when I was in the dance team, so why not today? So I enrolled in the acting class, and and yeah, everything changed since then. I remember I did this one scene that we had to do for our final, and me and a scene partner did the Grease Lightning song, and I ended up being a gorilla. So I went out, got a gorilla costume, dressed up as a gorilla, went to class that day, aced my final by being a gorilla, and I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to act and be someone else, be something else, and it's funny because I still have that gorilla costume here in my apartment too. That's one thing that was saved from my old apartment.
I like it. That's what you call thinking outside the box there. Showing
Right,
up to
exactly.
school as a gorilla, and
Right.
that's
You know.
pride. You got ton of extra credit for that. I'm sure you got
Yep.
the A. You got
Yep.
that was for the exam you said, right?
For an exam. Yep. Final exam.
Thinking outside the box. It's a good thing.
Being creative. Being creative, telling a story, and just being able to be happy and not think about anything else in the world, but being in that moment and being what whether it's a gorilla or whatever else it is, and being able to have those nerves or butterflies or whatever. Because if you don't have that, if you don't have the enjoyment or being happy, then why are you doing it in the first place?
Yeah, totally. Being shy myself, I in high school I took an acting class and actually one other time in college, and I actually enjoyed it both times. And being I was shy. I didn't like getting up. Especially I'm not like more like that now. I still don't talk as much, but I'm a lot more open than I was in high school. And but it's funny that acting led me into my interest pursuing media and communications.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing for me. That's why I went into PR and advertising too. PR, you're talking to different people every single day, and that's what's something that I always look forward to. Something that'll bring me out of my box and break me out of my shell.
What attracted you to begin a, begin as an actor? Why do you feel this is the ideal profession for you?
Because I don't think about anything else. um, I can say that I've had regular jobs. I still do have a regular, 8 to 5 job, and I enjoyed it, but there was always something missing. And it's funny because the job I have worked, I always tend to either look at my phone for like casting calls or reading some sides or reading a script or studying a monologue while I'm at work. On my lunch break, yeah, I'll eat and then I'll get on my phone and study or research. Research is the number one tool, the number one thing that you can do as an actor. Uh, and to this day, it's like I'd rather not be doing anything else, and I would love to be a working full time actor every day. And that's something that I wish to accomplish in the future, and that's one of my goals to work towards. And nothing else makes me happy than to be in front of the camera. And again, dancing, I still dance too, and I'm performing. Uh, and who knows, maybe I might get a role later on that requires some dance skills. And hey, I'm your guy.
Cool, cool. Talk me through some of the biggest or a big achievement you had to date. Talk me through, how did it feel, like what happened.
A big achievement. Um, hmm. Well, I want to relate it to school, just real quick, off the subject of just acting, but still in the same sense. But I was in school for quite a few years, and there was always ups and downs. Financially, at first I was getting financial aid and everything, and stuff kept getting in the way of work, or I needed to save up more money, so I stopped going to school. for quite some time, and then I went back, and then I stopped, and then I went back, and I can say that I am my biggest motivation. My parents were just happy that I graduated from school and got my diploma. Nobody pushed me to go to school. Nobody pushed me to get a bachelor's degree, pursue a university, or anything like that. Nobody tells me to do any of that. I tell myself what I want to do. I find my own motivation from within myself, and that's what led me to graduate. I did save my monies. I took out loans. I knew that I had to pay back all this extra debt, but it don't matter. It didn't matter to me. My education was extremely important to me, and I did it, and I made it. I graduated without anybody's help. I did it all by myself, and I give myself credit for that. And the same thing for acting. I'm here. I Nobody told me what to do. I started off one day just researching on the internet and looking up acting coaches. I that an HCC commercial that I did quite a few years ago. I used to be shy and I was scared, but what happened? I really wanted to act, so I said, why not just submit myself to this HCC commercial? I might get it, I might not. I went to the audition, had to do a little movement, a little running movement, and I'm like, man, here are all these guys that are coming in with headshots, like credits from top to bottom. I'm not gonna get this. But then what happened? A week later, I got it, and that was without an agent, and that's actually what led me into getting my first agent and the help of my acting coach as well. So to this day, I can say that's one of my biggest achievements, or a couple of my biggest achievement is doing that, and I continue to do it, and I continue to grow and make myself better.
Awesome. What will you remember? What's most memorable about what would you remember most of of all that? What would you remember most of all?
What would I remember most is to be patient. Very patient throughout that entire process and to not give up. Of course there were times where I wanted to give up, and as an actor, people want to give up all the time, and you have to face rejection all the time, and that's a part of that life. That's a part of the industry, and it's just like going for a regular job too. You go to an interview, chances are you might not get it either. It's the same thing with acting, or only with acting, what are the chances, that you're actually going to make it? The reality of that. And I just remember telling myself every single day that this is only going to make me stronger and uh, push me harder and to look forward and to not look back. Once you're done with an audition, you can't dwell on it. You can't think about it. You just can only move on and go to your next one.
Who has the most influence on your life?
Most influence on my life. I'd have to say my parents. Um, and again, I take it back to where they didn't push me to graduate, to do any of that, not even to go into acting. But they are my number one supporters, and you know their opinions and all that. Of course, I care about. I care about it too, and they give me advice, suggestions as well, and I know that no matter what, whether I go far in this business or not, whether I stay where I'm doing or I'm comfortable where I'm at, they're always going to be happy and supportive for me. And I feel like because I have that support system behind my back, it only pushes me and it only makes me strive for more.
So you know how in a movie you're watching a movie and somewhere down the line in the plot there's you have the main character, the lead, and you have maybe a supporting role, and then there's this other supporting role that comes in about maybe halfway through, and he comes in to help out the lead character and to help him get from one part of the plot to the end of the movie. Who in your life has been that person that kind of came in halfway through and helped you see something through?
Hmm. I'd have to say my acting coach. Um, and I've been going with my acting coach for ever since I actually started acting. And I didn't believe in myself when I first started acting. And I didn't think that I would be here where I'm at now and have the credits that I do have an agent. But my acting coach is the one that told me to not give up. That, going based off of his experiences and where he's at now, he's grown so much and he's also faced rejection. And if there's any advice or suggestions, that's the first person that I go to. And if when I first started off, of course, I wasn't booking, and I would say, you know what, this ain't for me, or I would say, hey, maybe there's something that I could have done better or anything like that. And he's the reassurance, and he makes me see things that I don't see, as an actor and as a human being, and my reactions towards things. So I feel like he's a big support system to me, and he's always been that support system to me from when I first started.
You think, or has there been anyone that you have influenced? You think that anyone that you have touched or influenced?
Um, I can say my younger sisters, um, and friends, friends and family. Um, you know, like I said, I am my biggest motivation. And when I'm out there doing what I do, whether I'm taking pictures, showing it on my social media, the kind of work that I do as a dancer and as an actor, um, I never put too much thought of who can I possibly influence, or who's gonna take this and run with it and do the same thing that I'm doing because they love it. And ever since I started posting on social media the work that I do, I've got quite a few messages, phone calls from people saying, "Hey, how did you do this? How did you do that? Like, I want to do the same thing you're doing." But you want to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons as well, because you don't want to have to do it and then what's the point, because you don't even like it. And with my younger sister, as a dancer, she sees me going to auditions as well, and practicing late nights, practicing early mornings, doing rehearsals, performances. And I remember I told her too, because she had a quinceañera and I choreographed it. And I remember telling her, I said, "Hey, I'm like, you're a really great dancer. You have potential. I think you can join a dance team in school. Do an activity or something." And just sitting down with her and talking to her about that really helped a lot, because not too long after that, she actually gave me a phone call and said that she joined a dance team at school. And it's a great feeling, because every time that I do talk to my younger sisters, they always refer back to what I've done and what I've showed them that I can do, and that I never gave up. And that's something that they do themselves.
All right. Connections are a big part of the industry. How many connections have you made that led to a role on a project?
Hmm. Let's see. I haven't had connection that led me to a role just yet. But when I do go out to when I do book any TV roles or commercial roles, industrials or anything, make sure that I network. That's the number one thing. Actors from an agency or whoever else is out there, because you never know who you're going to meet. That person themselves could be a director, a filmmaker later on, a producer, or an actor who you can study lines with, who you could do a scene with, you can take an acting class with, and come up with your own creative idea to create a short film or a student film. And right now, that's what I keep in mind, is to make those connections, build those relationships, and keep them in your back pocket, because you never know one day. And in this industry, everything's so fast, and you never know, the next day can be that one opportunity where your buddy connection just, messages you out of nowhere and say, "Hey, I got this great idea for a film. What do you think? Can you be my lead? Can you be a lead in here? Can you read for this? Or I have this friend that I know who's doing this student film." So yeah, if opportunities in this industry are endless, it's just up to you to take on that action. So, and that's something that I'm actually working towards accomplishing this year, out of my connections and seeing what else is out there.
So, like, more specifically to your role, you had the lead in True Crime with Aphrodite Jones back in 2015. Was there a connection that led you to that, or
Well,
specifically?
for true crime, I'm trying to think. For true crime, the one thing that I can say for that one was, I don't think at that time I had an agent either, but again, going back to my acting coach, at that time I was starting out again, and I went up to him and asked him, and I said, "Hey, what do you think about this role? Do you think it's a good thing to audition? Can we put it on tape, bid it?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, why not? Let's go ahead and do this, and it's the lead role, and you get your experience." And I went ahead and did it. And again, I'm nothing like the role I played on True Crime. That guy, Jesus, he's a killer. Killed some girl that he liked, or that he used to like, and ran away from his girlfriend and escaped. And I don't think he ever got caught. But yeah, definitely not like that in person. But it was fun to play the role, and yeah, my acting coach did help a lot in that selection.
You think is it harder to get started when you get started, or is it harder to keep going? What was particular thing that you had to conquer to do either? Like, is like, pretty much keep it simple. Is it hard to keep going or get started?
Um, it's a little bit of both, but it was easy. I want to say it was easy to start, because it's a long process. But when I first started, it was a lot of, again, doing research and research and research and networking, and just seeing what else is out there. And I guess what I can say the hard part would be is finding that right acting class. And if you don't know what you're doing, then you don't have no strings on how you're going to do it right. So the one thing that you do want to do is get that agent. Take some acting classes, put yourself on film, and submit yourself. And with my acting coach being a connection for me, he actually helped me get an agent. Put together a video file and a headshot and submit that through. And next thing you know, I am signed with an agency, and things are going to get tough along the way. It's not always that easy. Um, and again, you're not going to go out for auditions to auditions in a while, and you're going to wonder why. You're going to wonder if you're good enough or not, and that's going to make that decision on whether or not you want to keep going. And I guess that's what makes it hard, because then you have to take risks, and you have to make sacrifices. And if you're not making those risks or sacrifices, then you're going to be stuck and you're not going to know which path to go. Either you're going to stay and give up, or you're going to keep pushing and moving forward and doing what I'm doing now, you know? And I think that's what counts. And it's up to that person. If they have the love and the drive for acting, then you're going to keep going. And yeah, of course, it's going to stay hard. It's going to be hard. It's never going to be easy.
What was the most important lesson, the most important lesson you had to learn that was had a positive effect on project? How did that lesson come about?
Hmm. Uh, let's see. One thing. Hmm. It's a great question. um, One lesson for a project is to.
Something that you maybe it was a mistake, you made a mistake, you learned from, you came back and you did it better, or you came back, avoided the mistake, or something, a lesson you took from a mistake, something, or
So, one thing is not is if you get an audition and you're reading for a certain role, a certain part, it's always good to research on that certain TV show or a commercial or anything. And if if you don't know what the role is, or if you don't know too much of the backstory, then I don't think it's going to pull off right on camera. I'm not saying that's for everybody. That's just my opinion, but that can happen. And I remember when I was starting out, is I would get auditions and I would just read the lines, read the lines, and not put much energy or breath into the character or into the lines. Um, so when I would read them on camera, it'll come out like I'm just talking. And I noticed that with a few auditions, playing it back, and that's something that I'm still learning as of today, and I'm only growing. And I can say, if you just read the lines, then you are acting. If you are if you are forgetting about the lines and letting it go and let yourself free, let your body breathe uh, um, into each line, I feel like it'll come off as a better reaction, character and on camera. And you can tell the difference from when you're just reading it and acting to where you're just living in the moment.
all right, getting close to, we got about 15 more minutes here.
Awesome.
Give some advice for someone who's just, they're fresh out of college, they out of their acting school, they're going to school for acting, and they're just stepping foot in the water. Give some advice for them.
Do your research. And I'm not going to stress that. I can't stress that enough. Do your research. Look up acting classes, whether it's at college too. There's acting classes at college that you can take. Um, Look up an acting coach. If you're not comfortable being in an acting class surrounded by people that you don't know, or you're just starting and you're not comfortable enough to do that, get a private coach. And there's resources, online resources. There's Facebook groups that you can join. There's meetup groups that you can join. People who are also just starting out. There's there's so many resources that you can reach out to. The internet is your best friend. If you do go to these acting classes, though, one thing that we did mention earlier was the connections. Make connections, make friends, build relationships. Again, because you just never know, the next day you might um, that one person that you made a connection with is doing a short film, and boom, there's your chance. And that's something that you can actually put on a demo reel. Um, Invest in some headshots, whether it's professional headshots or Polaroid, whatever headshots you have. Just make sure it's not a selfie. But you can do that and submit yourself to some agencies, but not just any agency. Make sure you do your research on them too. Are they local? Are they sending out clients a lot? Are they well known? And look to see if they have a lot of your type, um, based off of race, age group, anything like that. And yeah, and just take it. Every day, just there's every day is another opportunity for you to grow. And I feel like Houston. Uh, if you're in Houston, I feel like it's a great city. Even in Texas, overall, it's a great city state for acting opportunities. You have Austin, Dallas. Don't limit yourself. Do not limit yourself.
And also, people I know coming into this, they have the feeling, oh, I have to go out to L.A. and maybe yes someday, right? What's your feeling on? Do you feel you have to make it to L.A. one day or New York?
Of course, that's my thought process too, right? But I think most and foremost, and the most important thing is to make sure that you feel that you're ready to go. Um, Nowadays we have Actors Access where you can submit like a video file or an EcoCast. A lot of casting directors are requesting that. Of course, LA, you have top-notch agencies out there. For pilot season, you are going out to auditions back to back for lead roles. But there's also other places. Atlanta's a huge market, as well as New Orleans. It's not just LA and New York where you say, "Oh my God, I have to go." If you want to go and you feel like you can make it out there, or you want to take that risk and sacrifice, then by all means you can go and try it out for a year, try it out for 2 years, a few months, and see if you like it or not. And it's tough. It is tough, but again, there's other markets, Atlanta, New Orleans, and that's something actually that I'm also looking into researching that market more, which is Atlanta, and seeing what else is out there, because their tax incentives and the the productions out there are huge as well, and they're looking for those co-star roles, those guest star roles, recurring roles, even lead roles. A lot of stuff is being filmed out there, so it's not only LA that you necessarily have to go to. Again, do not limit yourself because there's other possibilities and opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah, and I started to mention this before we were recording this and all, but another Houston guy, and he was a past. I had him on my show back in December or November, a month ago. Diego Berberac. I don't know if you worked with him or know him at all, but he's a Houston guy, and I worked on a short film with him. I was the director. He was a supporting actor, played a police guy in this short. It was a more funny, haha type of piece. But he's now out in Atlanta, and he has an interesting. You need to go back for all your listeners. Going to go back and listen to that too. He has this. He's developing this company where he's in this mobile RV converted into a mobile studio recording and he's going around recording reels for actors in Atlanta and then giving them tapes. He calls this rolling tapes. He's on Facebook with it and everything. So
Huh.
and he's out there in Atlanta and he's a Houston guy.
Oh wow. See, well there you go. Opportunities and possibilities elsewhere other than LA.
Which
I have to research that. I have to look them up.
yeah, rolling tapes. It's pretty cool what he's doing actually. A mobile studio. So
Nice.
with that in mind, when you're down in the dumps or you're just having a bad day, when inspiration is waning, you feel creatively sapped. What do you do? How do you stay fresh? Keep your mind fresh or at ease?
Um, I want to say first of all, I relax, pull out my phone, do some studying. I read and order books online. More specifically, acting books. And just learning like trying to learn different techniques. Study actors online on YouTube, even. And just even when I'm watching a TV show or movie, I try not to get too carried away with like the storyline or the the TV show itself, but instead I focus on the reactions and I would focus on um, how they are how they're delivering their lines and what the story is and the plot and how they got to it and how they build up on their character. And I myself actually here and there creatively, I later on want to write and produce and direct my own short film as well. And I want to learn how to write up a script and going from everything from the setting to the plot, the characters, and do it myself and see where that takes me. And creatively, that's what I'm trying to work on right now. I haven't gotten the story or anything like that, but every day it's different ideas that get thrown around, and I just write them down. Each thought that I have, keep a Word document or a notebook, and just write out my ideas that I have.
All right, we got about 4 minutes left. 4 minutes left before have to start wrapping this show up. It's been a fun ride so far,
Yeah, for sure.
and we're near the end. What is one mistake you think most people make, regardless of their experience?
One mistake. Um, one mistake I can say is thinking that you're going to have an overnight success. And that, I guess, happens a lot. And, thinking that one day, you're going to book something and think it's that easy, but it's not, and that's something that you have to mentally, you have to get your mind out of that. And so it's a lot of work and a lot of blood and tears, you know. And I think a lot of actors, well, again, speaking for myself, in my opinion, some might just sit back and wait for their agent's email or phone call and then do an audition. But then what are you really doing if you're just doing that, sitting down and you're not even studying your craft or anything? So I feel like getting into an acting class or in your spare time, studying a new monologue, and getting that and just putting yourself into different ways that you can get involved in the acting community rather than just sitting back and waiting for your agent's phone call or email saying that you have an audition.
All right, we're getting to the last few questions here. I have three that you actually don't know about. You haven't seen these questions yet. So I like to keep this at the end, more questions that you think about off the cuff. But before I just want to acknowledge you for coming on. I'm excited to have you on this show, and I hope people can take a nugget of information from your experience and help them move on. And I want to point out where they can go to see where you are. You're on IMDb. crazy not
Yeah.
to be as an actor or film director or anyone in film. It's like your resume in film.
Yes, for sure.
Look them up on IMDb. I'll have the links up for you as well on the page of this show as well. Connect with Ray Laredo on Twitter. He's at Ray underscore Laredo, Laredo. You can find him there. Tell him how if you liked what he had to say. Give him a like, mention him, connect with him on Twitter. Check out his work he's done on true crime with Aphrodite Jones. Some of his more known work. And to wrap this all up, I start with first the three questions here. What do you want to learn from someone who has seen success multiple times? Anyone like how famous? What do you want to learn from anyone, and who is it?
Hmm. What do I want to learn from anyone, and who is it? Um. So I watch a lot of Shonda Rhimes, but not only for that, but Viola Davis is an amazing, amazing actress, and when I watch her, I feel her emotions, and I feel her. I don't even, when I'm watching her on TV or on a movie, I don't see Viola Davis. I see her character, and I see the pain, and I see the happiness uh, behind her character, and how she reacts to that and reveals herself for that, and just lets herself go. And that's something that I strive for, and that's something that, as an actor, I think a lot of people want to get to that stage, and that's something that I definitely want to learn in my career, and growing as an actor like that, and having a mentor that way. And I think that that'll be amazing. And I think with the success that she's had for what she's done, her craft, it really shows and it pays off.
Why do you why do you think the film industry is important in our world?
Um, I mean, there's so many things about that. There's so many things that are going on in this world, devastating stuff around the world, shootings, natural disasters, and I feel like being able to capture that and getting a sense of what it was like for people who went through that, and putting that on the big screen, the small screen, whatever it is, it's important, because then you're educating the viewers and the audience, and it's captivating. And I think we need a lot of that now, and we need to let people know um, what's going on in the world. And not a lot of people do. And when you see a movie and a TV show, it brings you back to that time. Just like the hurricanes or the mudslides or the fires that are going on, that definitely can be a story, you know? Um, any little thing like that, any disaster like that, or not even a disaster, just a relationship. Somebody might be going through the same thing too, and that's expressed in the television show, in the film. And so I think it's really important to show that.
And the final question I have today, list three movies or TV shows that you think best describes your life or life in general.
Hmm. TV shows, movies. Um, there's one, Step Up or East Los High. That was a Hulu show, and I think, and they're more focused on dancing, yet it's acting. But the struggles, the drama, the ups and downs, everything that went on in the show and the series relates to where I used to be, where I'm currently at, where I'm trying to get to. Um, um, and it's amazing because again, it brings you back to why is film important, because you can tell those kind of stories and people can relate to that in such a way. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling to have those emotions, and you're just watching a television show. But you say to yourself, "Hey, that's exactly what I'm going through, and that's me. That's how I was a few years ago. That's how I am now, or that's where I want to be in 5 years from now." And it's crazy. It's amazing.
Well, and thank you, Ray, so much for accepting to do this, and I hope we can connect and stay connected. Being in Houston, all, and I hope your many new roles come down your way in 2018 and beyond that. And I look forward and excited to see what you can do in your acting career.
Thank you so much, Thomas. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll definitely keep in touch, and we could maybe even later on in the future do a follow up.
Yeah, maybe for around when I get to 100 guests,
There you go.
and we'll do a check-in, and we'll
Yes, sir.
see where you've been since the last time we talked.
For sure. Sounds good.
Thank you so much, and go out and just play your roles, man. Just go out in there and live it up.
Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it, buddy.
And there you have it. That was In the Film World with Ray Laredo. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy it, please share this with your fellow filmmakers and friends and comment on why you liked it and what stood out to you. Be sure to check back here for latest weekly episodes to see who I talk with next. Give a shout out to Ray on social media on Twitter at Ray_Laredo and let him know you heard him on the show. Thank you for listening and subscribing to In the Film World, and hope you got some value from this episode.